Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Spiritual View. We are so grateful to have you. Today is Friday, and we are here with our monthly collaboration. And I wanted just to do a shout out to some people in the chat. We've got Venus, Peggy. Hey, Peggy. Ed, thank you for joining us. Angela, Michelle, Kay. Let's see if we've gotten anyone else. Jonna, thank you for everyone being here today. And we have a full lineup today because we are living in unprecedented times. And this is going to be an exciting conversation with you today. Before we get started, I wanted just to introduce our lovely ladies. We are all here as souls merging our magic together with you as one spiritual community. So we are very grateful for you and honored that you would spend your evening with us. We have the lovely Elizabeth, Jen, Dawn, Angie, Wendy, and myself, Sari, and we are going to go through a number of different topics this evening for you. And we're going to be talking about, from many different perspectives, how do we actually navigate living in these unprecedented times? And I think, Dawn, you'd probably be the first one to say the astrology is about as unique as it's ever been, correct? You have to.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Yes. As a matter of fact, there's astrologers that have been doing astrology for 50 years as a profession who went back in using the computers that we have now and tried to find something similar to this. Went back 5,000 years, couldn't find anything that was like this. So especially with things going on, with all of the outer planets changing signs at almost the same time. And so the energies of that are going to be amazing. So yes, that's part of what's going on, as well as the personal planets that everybody is feeling right now. So yes.
Yes. And you're probably in the chat, you can make comments, but I'm sure that you all are feeling it like we are. So we're going to be talking about the astrology and what that actually means. We're going to be sharing through Jen some angel messages. Elizabeth's going to take us through some ideas on how do we raise our vibration in a period of time where it would be easy to have it lowered by those events around us that perhaps we can't control. Angie's going to integrate how do we actually move forward with these messages and how do we navigate this. And then I'm going to close out with some special messages from the Akashic Records. So we have a full program. So without any further ado, we're going to jump right in. So we're going to start first by getting ourselves just grounded very quickly. It's the end of the week. You've made it through. Sit back and relax. And I would ask everyone just to sit in your chair or wherever you are and close your eyes. Let go of the week. Just slow it down. And we're going to take a couple of nice, deep, relaxing and cleansing breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Continue to breathe deeply. Settle into your body. Shake off any of the cares and concerns of the week and just be here in this present moment. I'm asking for Mother Mary and Kuan Yin to be with us today to help us clear our energetic systems and to connect us with Source. The energies of both Kuan Yin and Mother Mary are full of compassion and unconditional love. And this is what we must feel within our hearts. They are sending this beautiful, loving energy going all the way through from head to toe in a spiral of beautiful, beautiful angelic light, swirling and cleansing each of the chakras as it works its way down, all the way through our feet, down into Mother Gaia. The energies are grounding us with the beauty and the security that Mother Gaia brings us. The spiral of energy continues back up all the way through our chakra systems. And this loving, compassionate energy connects us with Source up in the heavens. And gently, Kuan Yin and Mother Mary embrace each of us with this beautiful, protective light around each of us. They guide us to have compassion for ourselves, not to judge ourselves so harshly, to be kind to ourselves and to others, and to remember that we are divine source energy and that we are loved. Take another deep breath in. Let it out. And now we are ready to get started. Dawn, over to you.
Okay, let's address the biggest thing that's going on right now is this really heaviness of emotion. We are getting triggered. We are getting triggered, and these triggers will continue. We have Mars going retrograde in Cancer, and no one can get under your skin like family can. That is a lot of this energy of this Mars retrograde. And retrogrades have a tendency to bring people back into our lives for us to deal with unfinished business, right? We also, when Venus goes retrograde, you will have a lot of previous love relationships, contacts maybe coming back into your life, or a similar situation that you have grown from that you're like, oh, I recognize that. I see you. So the retrogrades, you have to think about that. And these are the personal planets this is happening to. So it's very much the energy of yourself that you're feeling this energy. These are personal planets. Now, we do have Mars in retrograde right now. Venus has started through her shadow area, both in water signs. So the emotions are very, very high. The emotions that trigger you, they're real emotions. I don't want to say, okay, you're getting triggered from something from the past. It's a real emotion that you're feeling. And hopefully we will be able to stop and say, okay, let me just take a step back and be the observer for a moment. This is the trigger. Why is this triggering me? Is this something to do with right now? Or is it a combination of this and something else? So that is part of what these things are coming forward. And honestly, Mars is having to face, Mars is not used to having to deal with emotions. Let's face it. Mars is about action, action, action plan. Now Mars is having to be sat down and say, okay, you haven't dealt with this. We need to deal with this. It's not comfortable at all for Mars. And as we go into March, we're going to have more and more things pile up in Pisces. So these energies are connected. They're in a trine. Both Venus and Mercury will be retrograde at the same time. They are going to be going into Aries over that special 0 point Aries that everybody's talking about. That's going to be a change for the collective. They're both going to be going into Aries. And remember, we talked about when something stops and then turns in either direction, that is an accentuated point. Well, guess what? Mercury at 9 degrees Aries then will start its retrograde. Venus at 10 degrees Aries will then start its retrograde. Where is the eclipse in Aries? 9 degrees Aries. So we have 2 retrograde points that would have just happened, and we're going to have an eclipse on that particular point within a degree or on the degree. And the very next day after that eclipse, Neptune moves to 0 degrees Aries. That is huge energy for the collective. It's huge energy for the collective also because both Mercury and Venus are at that point doing collective energy things. It also hits our personal charts. There are personal planets, but it's also affecting the collective. So there's a lot of things that are going to be going on energetically. And that happens, the eclipse on March 29th. And on March 30th is when Neptune moves in. Now, one of the interesting things that when I was looking at our personal planet Venus, she actually is going to be going over things 3 times. She's going over Saturn 3 times, all of those in Neptune. She's hitting the North Node 3 times. Of course, all of that is in Neptune. That's great energy because it's where we're supposed to be going. So Venus is going to get a guide to where she's supposed to be going, right? Now, the Mars retrograde, Venus trines Mars twice while she's in Pisces. The third, and they're each going in the one in the other direction. One's either going retrograde and the other forward. And then the second time they do it, they're reversed. And then the third time, they're both direct at 16 degrees of Aries when they do that final trine. They're moving forward together in a trine, which is amazing to me. So you have those energies going on. And she does the same thing with Neptune. Twice she will go over Neptune. The first time she covers it, which she still hasn't done yet. It's coming up in a few days. And then she will retrograde back over Neptune. Then in the end, she will then be in Aries when her and Neptune meet again. So after this global shift has happened, Venus is going to be a part of that because she's going to come back in and be one of the first planets that's going to be right there and go, okay, this is the first time I'm, going to hit. I need to probably go research that, which planet hits conjuncts Neptune first after Neptune moves. She's going to be one of them for sure. So looking at all that energy, there's so much that's going on in the collective. We have to realize that this astrology has been put in place for a long time. How we choose to deal with the astrology is always our personal choice. Free will tops everything. How do we deal with it in our own way? Stop and take a step back and look at what's going on for you. This is a learning process. These are personal planets that are getting very intense messages from the other planets. Mars just had a retrograde with Pluto, still has another retrograde coming with Pluto, trine. A trine with, let me correct that. No, opposition. It's an opposition. So there's an opposition that will occur still, but it'll be in Aries and Leo the next time that happens. New things coming. So it's very interesting, all of this really strong energy, and it's with the personal planets. Do I really think that this is going to help us going forward? I'm absolutely convinced of it. Is it going to be hard to deal with? Yes, but not impossible. And it's because things were meant to break down. Things will be breaking down in order for better to happen. And one of the things I also want to point out, Venus being in conjunction with the North Node, the South Node is in Virgo. Virgo is the sign of the servant, right? Very feminine energy. There are a lot of us that were born with Pluto in Virgo, starting in the 60s and into the 70s. We have Pluto in Virgo. This is a personal message to us, what had power over us and what power we are taking back with that South Node energy. This is a collective thing for people who have that in their charts. It is because before it's been like, oh, what was that in before? Okay, this is a very strong energy of this South Node at this time, at this particular time and place. So I do believe that when we come away with all of this, there's going to be much more strength to the feminine energy. Feminine doesn't mean male or female. It just means the energy of that more receptive energy. And do I think that we're going to get higher connections? Yes, I think we're going to get a much higher connection and able to tap into our spirituality much more. Some of us have to learn how to do some of those things, and hopefully we'll all learn together. That's part of what we're here for. But that's what I really wanted to emphasize. I didn't want to get too deep in the weeds about the degrees and things like that, because we can maybe do that at different times. But this is what's going on, and it's very personal energy right now. Mars and Venus are very personal energy, and Mercury is going to be in that mix too. We do have the new moon coming in Aquarius, and that'll be at 9 degrees. So all of this, we have like five 9-degree new moons in a row, and we're on like, this will be number 4. So this energy that's coming up is really, really building. We will have change. We will have, it's like, where the heck did that come from, right? Something will come out of left field and you're like, didn't see that coming. Well, that's because Neptune's in the mix, and Neptune's getting ready to change. So Neptune's going to be at 29 degrees, and a lot of stuff, both Mars and I think Mars and Mercury for sure hit Neptune at 29 degrees. So that's pretty intense energy. So does anybody have any questions right now? I know I probably left a lot unsaid, but I thought it was easier to explain it that way. Yes, Wendy.
Yeah. Well, first I want to say I love with the South Node in Virgo saying like, take your power back. I think that's awesome. How long is the South Node going to be in Virgo for us to be working on that?
Through July of 2026. Through July. Wow. It just entered on January 11th. You would have felt it. I did. I felt it for sure. And I got dreams. I mean, some of that can be dreams and stuff too, Pisces. So it will be, it'll be super strong. It'll be for it's always like 18 months. Wow. And so it will be until it's late July. I think it's like the 27th of July in 2026. Yes.
Awesome. It's kind of the year of the divine feminine for us.
I would say,
right?
Yeah. Yes.
And then with Mars in retrograde in Cancer, I was going to say, because I know that I feel like that's really affecting a lot of people's relationships, you know. And I also kind of wanted to get if you could say how long that's going on for too, because I think we all want it to be over.
Yeah. So Mars, here's the nice part. And Mars is actually going to be going back until I think it's like February 22nd. I'll just round, but it will then turn direct at 17 degrees of Cancer. So 17 degrees and up to 6 degrees of Leo. That's the retrograde area right there. Okay. So you have anything in those degrees, it's going to definitely make you feel it. Also in Capricorn and anything square, which would be the other cardinal signs, Aries and Libra. So you will, because squares are things that you must take action on. Squares require action, where oppositions are more trying to balance and work with that energy. But it is very personal energy, and it's going to bring a lot of things up. And you think about what Cancer is. It's our family. It's our heritage. All of those things. It's our home where we live. It's a good time to get rid of stuff. It's a good time to look at it. And Mercury is in Capricorn. So that's going to help us be more with a plan, right? Mercury with a plan in Capricorn. So I have looked at that, and what'll happen, it'll be much nicer energy once Mars starts to move forward, and you're like, okay, Mars is ready to get to work. I'm moving forward. I'm moving direct. I'm ready to get to work now. I'm ready to make things right. I'm ready to do what I plan on doing. And that can be with the house. Some people are moving because of this. Some people are in the energy of moving, creating a new home. Yes, go ahead, Elizabeth.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just kind of raising my hand to the moving, but I do have something to add when you're done.
Oh, yeah. I think that covers a lot of it. It will be in effect. Oh my God, I'm sorry to tell you this, but Mars retrograde is like a 7-month long thing. It will be in Cancer. I think I wrote that down. Mars will be in Cancer until April. So it's a long time in Cancer, but at least it's going direct at that point. And it will have trines with the things in Pisces. So once it gets moving direct, lot better energy. It'll feel much, much better. And it will be something that gets you moving forward. Moving
Beautiful.
forward.
All right. Thank you.
I have Mars in Cancer. It's been a thing. I also have Venus in my 5th house, and this is the kind of week I've had. And somewhere I know that your Uranus is really messing with me. I don't want to date, but I meet somebody, happens to be from Minnesota. Thanks, Don. Like, oh, I'll give it a try. Have a couple dates. And at my age, this sounds silly. Will you be my girlfriend? Literally Monday. This is just, and I'm too exhausted. I see everybody in the chat, how tired we are. I mean, it's a lot. This energy, the Schumann resonance, there's so much to talk about. And yes, I think we're all tired. And I didn't have the energy for this, but I thought I'll try and open up, right? New perspective, da da da. Well, the next day I find out he's flying in somebody from Minnesota. So I just forgot to ask how many girlfriends he has.
Oh,
I think my Venus is messed with in the 5th house of flirtation. So
That could be. And I will say that Mars retrograde can cause, fatigue, tiredness.
well,
I've had that first weekend on March 6th, I'm sorry, not March, January 6th, Mars went into Cancer. On the 11th, we had the nodes change signs. And that weekend, I was like taking naps at 3 p.m. I was exhausted, and I hadn't really done anything to be exhausted. I was like, I'd got a decent night's sleep. I'm like, I could barely keep my eyes open. So I think that one of the things Virgo is also telling us, especially as people that have Pluto there, we need to do more self-care. Better food for yourself, get plenty of rest, take care of yourself. I think that is part of what is going, when you are in better shape yourself, then you're able to be willing to give more to other people. The problem with, Libra and Cancer and Virgo, overgivers. You don't take care of yourself. Put the oxygen mask on you first, and let other people start their adulting process. Because that's the problem, is that, we don't, oh, I don't want them to have to suffer. They don't learn anything, obviously, unless they do that. Some people can't learn unless they have the rock hit them on the head. And,
yeah.
you can't be there to catch everything for them. They have to learn. And you are interfering in their process by rushing in to the rescue all the time. That is part of relearning this energy, and especially with family, especially drawing lines with family. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. We had the Aries and Libra South and North nodes for a reason. It was supposed to teach us those lessons, taking our own sovereignty, getting away from toxic people-pleasing relationships. And we're supposed to keep those lessons and not forget them when the nodes go to the other side, because it's going to be the same thing with Virgo and Libra, overgivers. So what do we need to do? You have to take care of your own energy first, because you're needed elsewhere. These people are, somebody did a reading. They're like, oh, stop letting those people be lazy. Because that's what you're doing. You're letting them be lazy. So really define your relationships with other people and keep the boundaries that you established before. Lock some of those doors. And I think that'll help people, but especially there's so many of us that have that Pluto in Virgo. Our whole thing has been, oh, we're here to serve, right? We are here to serve. Guilty, Cancer sun, right? So it's something that I have to balance with my other parts of my personality. It's like, yes, I have stuff to give. I have very good things to give, but I have to take care of myself first, or I'm not going to be any good to anybody. And where I can help other people is, instead of me doing, being your caretaker, there's nothing wrong with caretaking, but some people are adults still and are perfectly capable of learning to do things on their own. and then moving forward and helping other people. Part of, I think, what is beautiful about the feminine energy is that we are able to support each other without being in each other's business. We can support each other without being in each other's business, is how is the best way, I think, to have that. Cheriklo has boundaries. Healer. Cheriklo. She is there to hold the space for healing. She's not there to come over to your house and do your chores, right? You know, she's not judgmental, but, you know, she's there while you're going through healing to say, oh, okay. If you have a question, I'm here to answer it. But I'm not here to solve your problem. That's Cheriklo. So anybody have any other things that they can think of right now? Yeah, Angie.
So I'm just kind of reading back on my notes on that Virgo South node, and you know how you see things in a different way than you do when you write them or even later on. So Virgo South, you're correct, by the way, 7/26 is when the node shift next of next year. 7/26, 2026 is when we go again. But dissolving artificial boundaries. So those of us that have that Pluto and Virgo energy. And I just was also like, oh, duh, and 20 years is at 29 degrees. Of course, you're getting hammered right now. And that's an anoretic degree for anybody else that has that placement as well. But dissolving artificial boundaries. So when, you know, in our age group, we'll just say it like that, when, you know, we are taught just suck it up and stuff it down. We've stuffed those emotions to the point of, you know, we think we're putting up a boundary so that we can't get hurt, but then really it's over and over again. I'm like, now it's making sense why I keep getting the walls. What's the difference between a wall and a boundary? So I'm seeing that note now of dissolving artificial boundaries. How, you know, that's kind of the hard part to navigate right now. What is a wall and how do I know I have them versus what is a boundary? I wasn't able to express emotion, so, you know, suck it up. You're not allowed to, you know, don't cry or I'll give you something to cry about. Have you ever been told? We all, you know, that's kind of that generation. They were told that too. So when you've learned your whole life that it's not safe for you to be emotional and you're an emotional person, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I can't stuff them down anymore. How can we tell when we're what the difference between a wall and a boundary is, especially when your experience has been anytime you do share emotions and you get, you know, not understood or hammered for it or you know, our age generation was punishment.
Mm-hmm.
I'll stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about. How,
Yep.
you know, what is a way we can soothe that? And I feel like maybe that's what other people are feeling right now. Well, what's the difference? I want to keep this wall up so I don't get hurt, but how can we tell who it's safe to share that
Right.
with when the
Right.
experience has been so negative?
And let me specifically address some of your chart, because you saying that you have that Pluto at 29 degrees. Now, think about the fact where Neptune is, and Neptune's going direct, and Neptune's like right there. It's an opposition with that energy right now. And you're going to have Venus going over that. So you need to realize that it's meant to start showing us that vision, and especially because I also have Venus in Virgo, which is a whole nother problem. But because it's about us learning how to address, I think the fact that women probably have an easier time of being spiritual because we allow it to come in. We're allowing it, right? We're accepting of it. And so I really feel like this is what is happening with people that might have Pluto might have anything in the late degrees of Virgo. They're feeling it right now. They're getting that really, really, Pluto is about power and struggle, and Neptune is about, and probably very confusing. It's confusing the issues really right now. one of the things I really like about what's coming up for us, though, is as the nodes are moving, we're going to have, I think Mars is going to be able, once it gets direct, and it's going to be trining the Pisces North Node energy, sextiling the Virgo energy to help it out, to break down some boundaries and walls. That's how I look at it. I'm like, oh, divine feminine coming for you, right? That's what I feel like. But we have to deal with some of our own issues first. And those are very personal planets, and they are going to be in retrograde. Venus starts her retrograde on March 1st, and it lasts for like 40 days, the retrograde, and then she goes direct. And during that process, she's going to be communicating with a lot of other planets and the North Node 3 times and Saturn 3 times, right? So there's work there. But because we are going through this work, we're going to be much further ahead by summer, I would say, because I think we're going to be able to deal with the bigger changes that are happening to the collective. And again, stop every once in a while and just say, okay, every once in a while, just take a step back. If you have to remind yourself at 8 o'clock every evening or whatever, to just step back and say, okay, let me just step back and be in observer mode for a moment and see what has transpired today. How have I felt today? What has made me feel this way? What is it something here, or is it something that a combination of this and something that I got triggered by in the past, where I was told to shut up and not say anything or quit crying, or I can't even count the number of times I was told that very sentence that you said. I can't even count the number of times. Quit crying or I'll give you something to cry about. So the past pain is really real. And part of us being able to take our power back is saying, okay, I'm going to deal with that energy. And it was a different time. But it still left its mark on us. And especially in your formative years, when you are growing up, everything is so literal in your mind. When you hear it, especially as a very young child, it's literal. So when you were hurt, somebody explained to me this in a very good way. Rationally, as an adult, you can say, but that's not the situation now. But what is triggering you happened back when you were 4 years old. So your reaction is a 4-year-old to that energy that triggered you, because that's how old you were when you first faced it. You never got a chance to get beyond that. So even as an adult, you go, I have heard people say, I rationally know that this is not going to, they were really worried about something. I rationally know that that's not going to happen. But I revert back to my childhood when I was 4 years old, and I did believe there was a boogeyman in the closet, right?
Yeah.
So that, I think, is something that we're learning to deal with. Sometimes you have to go back and soothe the child and tell the child you're going to help out. And sometimes there's really nice meditations that will allow you to bring that forward, and therapists.
Yeah. Thank
I like
God for
therapists.
them, right? Well,
Yeah.
it's funny that you say that, because that's a perfect segue of where we are at in the Sabian symbols of that South Node Virgo, is rejecting the false. Rejecting the false, and thereby discovering unusual powers of concentration. So then and then you said it would be affecting Neptune. That's at the 28th Sabian symbol, which is a fertile garden under the full moon. It's all about fulfilling our desire, but we can't do that unless we understand what is false, what is a boundary versus a wall. And then Pisces is pulling us in that other direction to become what we idealize. So that's such a tricky mix. And then you said something with Mercury also being in the Capricorn energy. Today it's about making long-term investments. So, and it's like, man, is all of that really coming to a head? And understanding the difference between what's outside energy and what your feelings are. I talk to people all the time, track your moods. And it's like there's no reason that it should be like "Ugh," like that. Well, when it's going on in the cosmos, it's silly to not understand, or silly to go, oh, that's just, astrology. That's not a thing. It's mathematical. It's a mathematical tool that we use, and it's probability. So after years and years and years, and we don't have anything to look at, you said 5,000 years, we don't really have anything to base probability on right now. So that
Right.
was kind of hitting me too of, oh, it's like we can go, yeah, well, we had 18 years ago, it was the North Node in Pisces and the South Node of Virgo. It was June of 2006. I got married. And then December of 2007 was when it ended and got divorced, all in a that year and a half. But like you said, now we have all these unprecedented planets moving of where they have never been before. So yes, we can use that as a lens to see what that energy feels like. But then there's all this extra stuff kind of come in, and that we don't have any mathematical data to kind of look at and go, I remember what that felt like. It's unprecedented because we haven't experienced it. We never as humans.
And Uranus will be going into Gemini in July. Is it July?
July. Yeah.
Yeah. Jupiter
End of
enters
June, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Jupiter enters Cancer, where it's exalted, in June. Uranus is going to enter Gemini. Uranus likes Gemini. Gemini can respond very quickly to what Uranus wants. At that same time, we have Pluto in Aquarius in a trine. Eventually, there'll be a trine between those two. I think the exact trine happens at 6 degrees of Gemini and 6 degrees of Aquarius, which happens to be my Mars and my Moon. So that should be interesting for me. And that's going to happen, I think, in 2027. But that is why we're going to have such huge jumps, leaps, quantum things going on in technology, in transportation, in just stuff for everyday life. That's a collective thing. Those are the bigger planets. Those are collective things. Big changes. And we still are dealing with the personal planets. I mean, we haven't even gotten all the stuff in Pisces yet that's going to be showing up in Pisces. Eventually the sun's going to get there when all this stuff is going on, and the moon's going to go through, right?
Highlighting it for everyone.
It's not like the house has even got all the people that you're expecting in it yet. It's that it's full, but there's like a couple more people coming, right? So there's that too, but that's why I think also Mars is wanting you to make your home your quiet, safe place. And I think that is what's going to help. You can step back when all around you is kind of like, wow, everybody's like, when everybody says, wow, that's really weird. And I'm sure that people are going to say that. And we're not even going to know what that is yet. But I think it's going to be a bigger thing. And I know the astrology is wonky, but I'm not afraid of it because I know what is supposed to happen are things are changing and it's going to get better, and especially better for the divine feminine. That's my take. By the time Pluto leaves Aquarius in 19 years, there will be a huge change in feminine energy for everyone. A lot more quality.
Yeah. Wish I would have known to reject the false 18 years ago, because that was all pressure of, oh, I'm this such and such age. I should be married and I should be starting a family. And then it was like, oopies, no, not the right person.
Pluto Virgo.
But I was in your head of like, oh, I gotta do this, right?
That's
Those
Pluto
old
Virgo.
fashioned values. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
Pluto
right
Virgo.
when it would have been too, 30 degree. Oh God.
We were taught that that's what women do.
Right. And had I known, like, so everybody now, like, reject the false, like, don't, really be looking at that with the family. Like, how do we learn about love? How have we learned to communicate? Or how have we learned that we're not allowed to communicate? And then what skills do we need to build in order to be able to do that when when you haven't got to have a voice? So it's a lot of, trying to be like, I'm 50 some years old. I shouldn't have to learn how to do XYZ. That seems silly. But we do have to do that.
Well,
We do have to.
And I know we've discussed this before, where we've talked about how I remember my mom, you can't have a checking account unless your husband lets you, or a credit card, unless you in my lifetime. And a
Same.
lot
Yeah.
of younger people don't realize that. And we're like, oh no, that was a thing. That was very, very real. And we want to let you know that that was not that long ago. So we had that as we were growing up. And, I think we've changed some of that, but we didn't change it far enough. It didn't get changed far enough because we don't want things to backslide. Do I think I can't even tell you why I think women are going to be more vocal in what they're going to be doing. I don't know, but I know that there is going to be a big change. And I really feel that we're going to be a big part of that change because we know what it looked like back then. And we don't want that going forward. And we can be the ones to speak to that. So when you have someone that actually had skin in the game and knows what's going on, you tended to have a little bit more street cred, right? So
yeah, I remember that. Yeah, my grandma having to call. Lazarus had to call grandpa to say, "Is it okay that your wife makes this purchase?" And then, telling my students that credit cards, women didn't have them till the year I was born. Watch their mouth drop open. They're like, "It's foreign." They're like, "Wait, what do you mean?" Like, are you telling the truth? Like, is that what? It doesn't make sense because it didn't make sense. But right? That was literally it. I don't know. You guys, did you ever experience that, being with a parent or grandparent and they had to call and be like, is this like lines behind you? They didn't care. They were calling and if they didn't get them on the phone, you could not purchase whatever you were trying to purchase.
Oh
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have that experience, but I have come to the realization this year I get to do so much that so many women before me did not get to do, and I have taken it for granted. So, I mean, just even knowing like that it was that soon in our history, that's just so many women. That represents so many women were not able to just have, bank accounts, have their own homes, even have their own businesses. Like, I'm just like blown away at what we are able to do now that we do take for granted. That just really wasn't that long ago that we were not able to do.
well, and if you left a marriage, you had no credit score.
Right.
That's why a lot of women didn't leave bad relationships, because they were trapped. They were trapped.
Right.
So, I think those are all things that we need to think about, because we have come away, but there's so much more. Women do not make equal pay. They don't. So there's a lot of things to look at with that, but really we have to look at our own personal stuff first and see how we can change things in our own personal life, and then see how the collective is changing. Because I think taken for granted, I think, is a great word, that the power of feminine, because we're so supportive, it is taken for granted. So I think that is something that we can all take with us. But we'll be exploring the astrology of this a bit more, because it's so strong. And let me give one last word. I mentioned this before we went on, that Adam Elenbaas, Elenbaas, I believe, Nightlight Astrology, he did a very simple explanation of Saturn and Venus conjunct. And that's the only, he has the chart up and that's the only thing on the screen. And then he goes around and says, okay, if you are a Libra sun or a Libra rising, then this would be in this house for you. And this is maybe what this means. And I went through and listened to all of them, and I got great information on what each one of those means in those signs. Because if you think about it, your moon is your emotional side, your ascendant is what other people see of you, and your sun is your personal place, right? So I made sure I listened to all of those, and it was a very nice, simple explanation that really explained that well. And so that's Nightlight Astrology. He is from Minnesota. I liked his explanations. They weren't complicated, easy to understand, and it's easy for anybody to follow. So I would recommend that, just if you really want to get the Saturn Venus feel. And sometimes it can even be an older woman. That's literally what that is. Venus, woman, and Saturn being the age. So if that's in your 11th house, you may have someone that's an older woman come in and be a friend to you and help you. That's a possibility in the astrology. So I'll let us go forward on it. I'm thinking, is it Jen next or
Well,
Elizabeth?
we're actually going to change it up a little bit. So we're going to move to Elizabeth.
Jen, too funny.
Well, this was a great discussion. So I know what I've got. I can share it at any time, but this was just going too good, so I didn't want to stop it. So
okay.
All right.
Well, I can't help but the chat. Happy birthday to Brandy. Peggy, no, that's not a wrong thing to do. And Farah, no, go take your power back. Okay, telling you. And what else I want to say? Oh, to sum it all up, and I know I'm on a TikTok roller coaster. Just leave me alone. But we are Gen X. And if you were ever on TikTok, man, there is a whole tribe of us talking about this generation, the things we did, won't say because we did it. It's just hysterical. And we have seen so much change, but it's just, to me, going light years. And gender fluid, we all got to rise up. And that's my little rant there. Also, the inner child work is important, and you're going to hear that a lot, but the big picture is your mental health. And I do believe that therapy helps with that. And I've told you all many times, I've had plenty of it, and I really, really enjoyed the hypnotherapy I went through to help with some pretty significant trauma. And so, all that being said, what I wanted to share with you guys today are, as we go through that full moon energy was intense, and it's a super auspicious time to also bring in good things. But that being said, we're still cutting away a lot. We're still having to cut cords with people, family, our own issues, our own things we hold on to from childhood, or just, I'd say 2007 for me. I've been hanging on to some stuff like a. So I wanted to share these essential oil recipes that I've named kind of ritual oils, anointed ritual oils for you all. We may get the slides up correctly or not, but I will have the information if you'd like it. I was inspired by Lindsay Knight. You guys know I talk about her a lot. Her website is the Hermit Numerologist 9. You won't find this there, but you'll find Lindsay, and I highly recommend her. And I want to give you one of the first. It's called a Cutting Connections Oil. And it's used to symbolize breaking connections that no longer serve you, whatever that means to you. And in this oil is believed to herald and freedom, liberation, and breaking of negative influence and barriers. Now, what I recommend is a dark glass vial or container, here I have a clear one because it's also beautiful to see the oil, and we're going to put a crystal in there. But for long-term use, I do recommend a darker glass vessel. It'll just help everything last longer. And then your carrier oil, Jen, does it come with them? Yeah, there you go. If you could go, yeah, right there. The carrier oil is basically what you're going to put everything in. I like fractionated coconut oil. It's not what you get in the grocery store. It's just pure purified coconut oil. It's great for your skin. You can take your makeup off with it. You can do all so you can with regular coconut oil, but this is what's really the best oil. Jojoba and also sweet almond is beautiful. Now, for cutting connections, breaking chains, so to speak, the oils I'd like to see you use, frankincense, and you can adjust this to what you like. And if you are accustomed to using essential oils, you'll understand the vibration too. Frankincense has a very high vibration. So does rose, which I haven't included in these three, but myrrh and cedarwood. And you'll see here 7 drops of this, 5 of this, 3 of this. You can adjust it to how you like. And then from Lindsay, I learned to put a clear quartz crystal inside the vessel. And then Jen, you can slide to the next one. What you're going to do is mix the carrier oil, your essential oils, really hold it. Love the jar that you put it in. Put your intentions in there of what you need to break, change, cut away, cord cutting, whatever all of that means to you. And close it up. Leave it for 24 hours. Let the crystal's energy infuse in the oil, and then you'll be ready to go. And I recommend, as far as putting it on your body as you meditate or anytime, they smell wonderful and it's great for you. I recommend on your pulse points, the bottom of your feet, your temples, back of your neck, things like that. And then also, one of the examples I was telling the girls, I love this necklace. But say this represents a chain I want to break and I don't want this anymore. I would probably anoint this chain with that intention and pass it on so that I can close out that energy. Now, next, so it could be used for a lot of things, and it's just a way to not only say, I really need to cut this out, but to infuse it into your spiritual practices and just into your thought process and your body. Open roads is a way to really bring in positive energy and new opportunities. It's really about abundance. And it's also to remove obstacles so you can clear the way for new opportunities and just, again, invite a lot of positive energy into your life. Again, you're going to use, I see a typo. You can use about a half a cup, I would say, in any of these recipes of your carrier oil. This one is bergamot essential oil, cedarwood, and lemongrass. Bergamot being the heavier undernote, 7 drops, 5 drops of cedarwood, and 3 drops of lemongrass. And in this, as I described before, you'll put a piece of citrine or aventurine, I believe, crystal, either or both. Those infuse the energy, the positive energy, and also the intention of abundance. And again, you'll anoint yourself before maybe you're going on a new job opportunity, or again, meeting someone new, making friends, making relationships. and just in general, changing your perspective and your vibe, I would say. And with all of these that I'm discussing, I would definitely approach everything with the highest and most positive intentions when you use these and your best spiritual beliefs. Last, I included the psychic connection oil, and this is really to help boost your intuition and your psychic abilities and trust in that. Again, you'll use your carrier oil, and this calls for frankincense and lavender. Very calming, very spiritual. And the crystal recommended is amethyst or clear quartz or both. And again, you're going to adjust the recipe to your preference and fragrance and beliefs and all of that. And then anoint yourself, your cards, your journals, your everything that you love, that you want to put protection around you and trust within you, and for your intuition and your the most positive vibes possible, so that you will enhance your intuition and trust in that. So I hope that helps. And while I was thinking about a lot of this, and I had a rough week too, I do a lot of meditating in the shower, which I guess is weird, but maybe not. And I visioned, normally I see white and gold, but this was so pink around me, which immediately told me to just listen to my intuition. And I started to see a symbol, and it's what Jen has shown here. It started with a heart and an hourglass, and I came out of the shower, heart, hourglass, and now I even forget what the third thing was, which in one of my videos, I told you guys, if you get a download when you're dreaming or in the shower, get out of the shower soaking wet and write it down, because you'll forget. But I knew I said heart, this and that, and I went and looked it up. And I found it in this light codes book that I use when I see symbols that I just intuitively know they mean something. And this is a symbol called Ahagma, Ahagma. And it's about everything we're talking about tonight. So I just really was moved by it. Integrating, taking the next step, releasing resistance. Release fear, you guys, and use really good discrimination and discernment in the face of fear, especially moving through this year. And this is about making progress. And I'll read part of it. There's so much really cool to learn about this light symbol, but it does discuss healing is a process of discovery, forgiveness, and acceptance. Part of moving forward within the healing process is integrating and releasing past events, traumas, and resistance. We don't have much longer to heal the inner child. We got to move. Let's go. Things are moving fast, and I feel like I had to intuitively say that. But this does afford us the opportunity to heal completely, to become engaged in living life from a more fulfilling place, living in the moment. This symbol helps us to integrate our lessons, our healing, and our experiences by assimilating all of our experiences from all of this past, even our childhood. We can continue to move forward along our path, empowered. Don't look back. Do not. Uplifted and inspired. This encourages you to be brave, to take the next step. It wants to help you release any resistance you feel, whether it's manifesting as anger, fear, sadness, or any other form of confusion. This symbol honors you and reminds you that every choice you make is okay, that experience is what life is about. Feel what you feel and stay with your feelings as long as you need to. There is never a rush. When you are ready to move forward and embrace what you have learned, a Hagma is waiting to assist you with the momentum, love, and acceptance you require. It guides you into the next stage of your process with lightness and ease, and it asks you to trust in the unfolding and timing of the universe, but reminds you that in order to live a happy, peaceful, heart-centered life, you must participate actively, even if it's anointing oils in yourself. That's a step in actively helping yourself. When you go within and connect with your true self, your life flows with your rhythms in your time and with your love. So I hope that helps you all. I find it kind of cool and yeah, enjoy. Go out, experiment with some essential oils, and do forgive that little child and let yourself go play. And thank you for this super chat, Jewel. Mwah.
Shar has this question.
Yes.
Where can we get
Oh, I love that.
good
Okay.
essential
Well,
oil?
okay, there's two companies that are very popular, doTERRA and Young Living. They're expensive, but good quality. Cher, I would look online for small business, organic, local sourced herbs and oils, and I'm happy to help you offline too. I have just a shit ton of doTERRA, so I don't have another recommendation, but I'll help you find some. I think the quality, local small business farmers that grow these beautiful herbs, overseas if necessary for some of them, but just as organic as possible with no other ingredients in them. And again, rose oil is a really beautiful oil to have and use around you and all over everything. Okay, I hope that all made sense.
Thank you so much.
Yes, and if anybody's interested in this light codes, it's called The Little Book of Light Codes by Laara, Laara, and it's really, really interesting and inspiring and fun if you like scrying and doodling and you see things in the clouds and all of that. You're actually seeing things that matter. So,
That is so cool.
thanks for listening.
All right, Angie, you're up. You're muted.
So today, I asked specifically for how we could handle moving forward in these unprecedented times, and I have been seeing 11s all day and 22s, and we got a 38, which is an 11. And then in the environmental energy, I noted that it is our episode 10. So we literally got the 10. We're talking all about these new navigational strategies that we're going to be needing. And literally, I mean, deep dive. I mean, we're diving all up in that water energy. So if you're feeling it, especially if you have a lot of water in your chart, there it just kind of feels extra. It feels exponential, I would say. And this card of the 38 many masks says, so again, how can we navigate through these astrologically unprecedented times? The authentic self, energizing internal allies, a conscious shift. We live in a world where everyone we see wears a mask. We wear these masks to cover up and protect who we really are, the walls versus boundaries. We learn to do so because we've been conditioned to try to appear a certain way to fit into society. Masks allow us to belong, so we remain within the confines of what is expected. Masks are not inherently bad. Rather, they provide context and structure for our personalities and our soul's expression. Some of us might believe that a particular mask, fixed and hardened onto us, is our performance face. We forget that we are living beings with a multitude of faces, enabling us to experience a fuller, more vibrant world. Our authentic essence doesn't want to be constrained by others' expectations anymore. Now is the time to strip away the mask you've accepted and discover who you really are. A new self is emerging, and your perception changes as you adopt new ways of being. Right now, it's really important to allow yourself to experience the world in all its myriad potentials and possibilities. Try on different masks and let yourself be fluid and curious. How will you know what you love and what you resonate with if you don't take off the mask you've always worn and test drive some new ones? Your authentic essence will never change. It will only express itself differently through these optional selves. Through trial and error, you'll discover more and more about what and who you want to become. What would it feel like to explore this side of you? Anything is possible if you are willing to open up to your potential. You truly can move beyond the barriers that society has set. Use your imagination and step into the magic. So I've never read this card. I've never pulled this card before. This is the first time. So I'm reading it here for the first time, if this is the first time you guys are hearing it. And before the show, I was asking the girls if they had the palindrome cards 2552, because that's where Mars was sitting when I wrote my notes today. And I was during the show going, oh, duh, that's a 77. So it is on page 77 here that this message is. So I feel like it's relating to this Mars retrograde diving deep into these waters. It's uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable, especially if we're not really used to expressing ourselves, or we didn't have, we were told that the feeling, or told the thing of, quit crying or else I'll give you something to cry into. Or as everyone else was speaking, what if nobody listened? What if nobody was there to listen? A lot of our generation were also latchkey kids and came home to an empty house. And when your parents got home, they're exhausted. They didn't have. So it's not about blame or about pointing the finger, or, it's just having to get, like Dawn said, we've got to do this work of reparenting our way of being, because if there wasn't anybody to talk to, you didn't say anything because no one was listening anyway. So I just want you guys to understand we're all here for you. This is a deep dive, and it's an energy we have never experienced, nor I didn't know it was 5,000 years, but good golly, we don't really have anything to kind of use as a template to even understand it. We've got June of 2006 to December of 2007. But there's so many other things. That's a good flavor, but then there's so many other things that we don't know what that's going to feel like put in this big mixing bowl, because it just hasn't happened in our lifetime, So our hearts are there out to you, but I did get the song, if it helps anybody, The Future's So Bright, I Gotta Wear Shades. and I drew a little person with sunglasses floating down a lazy river. And you just, the last time we felt today's energy with the sun sextiling Pisces was January 15th, if that helps anyone, of 2024, very close in the degrees. But remember, sextiles, they collaborate, they assist, we develop. It's a door opener. It's a door opener. And what the things that don't feel good right now, we've got to, it's okay to be uncomfortable. Be around people that you can trust and that you can trust your emotions with. We know who that is if we've had that experience before, but there's a lot of people that haven't. So if you are one of those people that can listen, I can listen all day long and have the deepest empathy for everybody else's and take it and point out that it's, they're human. But my tolerance for my own emotions, I'm still growing and trying to allow that, because that's a lot. 50 years is a lot of time, a long time to stuff. It's a long time to push it down. And it's hard when you're empathic to have that same compassion for yourself. I don't know if that's anybody else's experience, but I mean, this is what we all do here. We can listen to other people all day long and have that empathy. Yet when we have to turn it on ourselves, oof, uncomfortable, right? It's uncomfortable. So we got to kind of get comfortable with being uncomfortable, and it's going to be okay. I feel like it's going to be very exciting. It's a little rocky right now, that June break of little break in the energy, when it's really nice for all signs. There's not a single sign that it's not going to feel like a release for. So hang in there, guys. Just put your shades on. If you need to hide your crying eyes behind your shades, it's okay, because the future is bright. So know that and feel that. And I hope that message resonated for people today. And I'm very excited to hear Cerie's Akashic messages today. So I'm anxiously awaiting that. So I will turn that over to her.
All right. Thank you, Angie. And thank you, everyone. As some of you know, or most of you know, I spend a lot of time in the Akash, and this is the records of the soul's journey. So it can be a collective message to all of us, or it can be on an individual soul level. And so we've talked about the astrology and the energetic shifts that we're going through today and how unprecedented it is. And they gave me some messages yesterday from the soul's perspective and from a higher lens. So, Dawn, we're going to sit on the eagle's perch from the heavens, or from the Akashic realms, and kind of look down. And so I'd like to invite everyone just to close their eyes, because I'd really like you to absorb this. It's a lovely message, and some of this you've heard before. Some of it might be new to some of you. It's only a few minutes long, but I'd like to read it to you. And this will be our close for today. So take a couple of nice deep breaths as you close your eyes. And these are the messages from the Akash. Greetings, dear souls, in this new calendar year of 2025 on your earth. We are the wisdom keepers of light, the guardians of the Akash, and we bring forth messages to those souls seeking meaning and a higher perspective of what is happening with the energy of your planet. We bring forth the energies of Archangel Michael, who is here for strength and protection. Archangel Metatron, who is the guardian of the Akash. And Gabriel, the Archangel of Communication. They want each of you to know that this is your year of change and of understanding and knowing your truth of who you are as a soul. Many of you have been on this journey, and you are recognizing this new energy coming to your planet. Though you may not understand what is happening in front of you, you are aware of this immense change process that you were experiencing. You are safe. You are protected. You are divine. This new energy coming to your planet, the energies, what we call the new earth energies, are bringing intense light and giving truth to the frequencies of love, of joy, of harmony, of peace, and of great compassion. But many of you are puzzled as you hear these words, as what you see playing out in your news media and around the world is utter chaos. This is the time that all souls must choose what reality they wish to live. If you choose to be a multidimensional being living in this new earth energy, you merely have to focus on the vibration of love. That's all you need to do. And what will be reflected back to you in your physical reality will match. If you choose to live in these old world energies of what we've known as fear, anger, chaos, and control, your physical reality will reflect that back to you with these vibrations. It will be as if there were two earths within one earth, and souls will live in the reality that they choose. There is much confusion and noise about these things right now, and we wish to tell you that this choice is upon you, and there are those who have been on the fence, so to speak, for some time. Many are having to make choices which leave behind loved ones and friends and colleagues. Remember this, dear one, you can only make the choice for yourself, and you cannot choose for someone else or force another soul to make the choice. Each soul is on their own journey of soul awakening, and it is up to each soul to make this determination. We understand this could bring anger or fear, as many of you are facing losing the ones closest to you. However, we will say that now is the time to shine your light for others so that others can see the light, as many are living in darkness. Many are lashing out in anger and confusion as they do not understand the higher order of the universe and of your Earth's changes. Mother Gaia is going through her changes, and expect there to be more climate events as she comes into her new cycle of renewed energy. No matter what comes your way, you are to remain centered and grounded into who you are as a soul and simply focus on the vibration of love. When you feel concern or uncertainty, drop into your heart and remember someone or something that you love dearly and focus on that vibration. We have stated before, as we change, all the past timelines will be moved into the present moment, which presents a unique opportunity for clearing many karmic cycles and ancestral traumas. We encourage each of you to be all right or okay with looking at the darkness within you, as you are a combination of darkness and light, and you are balancing the masculine and feminine energies within you. You will be transmuting much of these old energies and releasing ancestral patterns and behaviors that are no longer to be part of your auric field. It is an amazing time. However, the emotions that come with this process may be of a bit of what you call a roller coaster. This is necessary for your light bodies to become lighter and less dense. There is no need to hold on to these old energies that have kept your earth in great denseness. As you are releasing the past, we ask you to focus on the present moment, as this is where the quantum energies coming in will guide you. Everything you need will manifest in the moment. There is no need to hold on to the past. There is no need to worry about the future. You are becoming one community. And part of this process is to close out those soul contracts and relationships that are ending in their natural cycles in order to make room for the souls who you are meant to be with moving forward. We understand this involves much trust, much faith, a leap of faith on your part. We understand that some of this may not make sense to you now, but you will know if you are aligned if you simply stay in your heart center and stay in the vibration of love. This is the energy that we ask you to focus on. And by this focus collectively, you are changing the world to the tipping point for humanity. We need each other and every one of you to shine your light forth like you never have before. Stay grounded in nature is important, and taking care of your mind, body, and spirit is the highest form of love you can offer. It's a daily practice and mindset that comes with focus and intention. Do not worry if you get triggered or express emotions which are not your normal operating system. because we are aiming for a 51% majority. Once we get that tipping point, Earth's humanity will shift, and this is what we are seeking. You are hearing this message because you are one of the pioneers who chose to lead the way in a world and time of great upheaval and darkness. You are the light. There is not tomorrow to wait. Your call is now, and we are asking you to be the lighthouse for others who are seeking shelter in the storm. All the archangels are here to assist you, and we ask you to call upon your guides, the angels and archangels, to assist you in shining your light. We are one with Source. You are divine. There is much support for this amazing transition. All you need to do is ask. We send you much love. We send you much courage. We send you much strength as you shine your light for others. The wisdom keepers of light. So that is our closing message. Sorry, it gets a little emotional. So with that, I think you've heard a lot today, and sorry, I get washed with emotion at times. We're going to do a drawing out of the comments today. So before we end, please make sure you put a comment in to let us know you were here. We will announce that on our live next Friday. For those who contributed as a super chat, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Please join us next Monday live at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. In the meantime, we have daily messages over the weekend, 7 days a week, and we're sending lots of love, power, and strength and courage. And again, we love you guys. Have a great evening.